Hey BookTube, The Magicians is one of my favorite shows right now, and I'm really sad that it's ending. So I decided, hey, I should probably read the books. I finished the first one and I loved it, but in a completely different way than I did the series. When doing research for this video, I went on Goodreads and I found that this book got a whopping 3.5 stars out of 5 from the general Goodreads community. Now, for a community that hands out 5-star reviews like candy, this is like a major diss. So I was trying to figure out, hey, why do people hate The Magicians by Lev Grossman? But first, if you aren't already familiar with the storyline, Quentin Coldwater is a high school senior who's applying to fancy schools, while really wishing that he could escape to his favorite fantasy world, Fillory. Fillory is sort of a cross between Wonderland and Narnia. Don't we all wish we could just escape into a fantasy world? Have you been outside in real life lately? It's scary. Quentin goes to an alumni interview, and then he gets a copy of a book called The Magicians. And this is the unpublished, completely unknown sequel to the books that are already in that series. His life completely changes after this. He ends up going to a magical college called Brakebills. Its B and Key logo is even referenced in the Starless Sea. That was the magic school that Zachary Ezra Rollins looked up when he was trying to figure out what the B and the Key came from. Quentin makes friends with the physical kids, and he tries to learn magic as he reconciles his new exciting life with the boring one he left behind. Now to the part you have all been waiting for, the biggest complaints with this book. The biggest complaint that most negative reviews had with this book is that it follows a bunch of overprivileged rich kids who can't be happy even though they have everything. It's a bunch of kids that are too smart for their own good, and they just don't care about things at all. I completely agree with this take, but I also kind of resent it at the same time. It hits a little bit too close to home. One heavy theme in this book is that extreme good fortune doesn't necessarily lead to happiness. We've all heard the adage, money doesn't buy happiness, or you can't look for happiness in a partner, you have to find it in yourself. So it's pretty obvious that magic isn't automatically going to make these characters happy. Magic doesn't even save some of these characters from being insufferable human beings. Quentin Coldwater, I am looking at you. As someone who was a scholarship kid at a college for people who are too smart for their own good, this point is so underrated. You just can't find happiness in external things, in people, in places, in all these things that you could buy or go do, which is probably why so many of us make a quest out of trying to find happiness and trying to achieve it, as if it's something that is a prize at the end of the tunnel instead of a journey. A lot of people read books as an escape, and some people might find this too real or might not find a sense of escape that they were looking for, and that's why they don't like it. And that is a legitimate way to feel about the book. Another complaint about the book is that the 5 years at Brakebills happen over about half the book. This book is sort of marketed as Harry Potter and Hogwarts for adults. So a lot of readers are expecting there to be much more time spent in the school setting, in the learning, maybe make every year at Brakebills be its own book, and this series does not do that at all. Over the course of the series, we realize that Brakebills is not the main setting for the story. And the issues that the characters face and all of their challenges aren't things that can be just done by somebody who has a lot of good friends and a lot of luck. It's something that they have to train for, and this book does a lot of really good work building up all of that tedious training and showing them grow as magicians and grow in skill, because what they have to fight at the end of it is really hard. In books like Harry Potter, an 11 to 17-year-old boy defeats the most powerful evil wizard that the world has ever seen, over and over again. In the real world, you have to practice and study and get the skills that you need in order to come even close to surviving an encounter like that. Heck, it takes a lot of time practicing something to not be complete garbage at it. You can't just take luck and well-meaning friends and expect to save the world. I don't say this to invalidate stories like Harry Potter, not at all. After all, if you want to convince kids to follow their dreams and to work really hard at something, you have to show them that it's possible for them to actually accomplish that. But as an adult reader, I really appreciate this more realistic approach that The Magicians takes to training and showing that it takes a lot of hard work to do something. And if we're being completely honest, 5 years of intense study at Brakebills is probably putting you at level 1 might survive against a beast. I thought that the writing style and pacing of this book made a lot of sense with what the author was trying to do, but a lot of people really didn't like it. Another complaint people had is that this book was too adult. Brakebills is Hogwarts if Hogwarts was an American college, and there are going to be things like drugs, alcohol, shenanigans. And yes, there is some partying. After all, the characters are adults and they act like adults in real life. Another problem that people had with this book is that magic is very dark. It can do wonderful things, but it has a very dark side, and there are real consequences to what goes on with it if you mess it up. The world is very punishing and very unforgiving, and it never feels like the characters have any plot armor, and there's zero chance of them coming out unscathed. It has a very old school fairy tale flavor instead of the Disneyfied version that we all grew up with. So even though a lot of people had a lot of complaints about this book and probably feel very justified in giving it 3.5 stars, I think that it deserves a lot more credit than that. I feel like it was a very well done book, and I feel like a lot of the nuance was not properly appreciated by the audience, and that is why they hated The Magicians. If you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button to join the Caffeination. We would love to have you. I try to post a new video every week, but my schedule is a little bit weird because I have a lot of extra time on my hands because of coronavirus. Leave me a like, leave me a comment. If you thought that I did a terrible job, please leave me a comment and I will try to suck better next time. Bye!